All right, let's jump right in. Today we're talking about what many people call the holy grail of diabetes technology. We're talking about the incredible quest for a completely non-invasive way to check blood sugar. It's a journey to make a tough, chronic condition just a little bit easier for millions.
This is the big, audacious vision that's fueling billions of dollars in research and some of the most brilliant minds in tech and science. It's a simple idea, right? But behind it is one of the most complex challenges in modern medicine.
And why all the effort? Well, it's because of this number. Over 500 million people around the world are living with diabetes right now. This isn't some small niche problem. We're talking about a global health crisis, and a pain-free way to monitor it would be absolutely revolutionary.
To really get why this goal is so important, we kind of have to understand where we're starting from. So let's take a quick look at what the daily reality of managing diabetes is like today.
For decades, for what felt like forever, the only option was the finger prick meter. Yeah, painful, repeated jabs, all just to get one single snapshot of your glucose levels at that exact moment. Then came continuous glucose monitors, or CGMs, and they were a huge leap forward for sure. They use a tiny sensor you insert just under the skin to give you data in real time. But, and this is the crucial part, even the best tech we have is still minimally invasive. It still breaks the skin. It can cause irritation. The sensors have to be changed out all the time. It's way better, no doubt, but it's not the final destination.
So that's what kicked off the hunt for something truly, completely non-invasive. And this isn't a new idea. This is a scientific marathon that's been going on for decades, full of brilliant ideas and a lot of frustrating dead ends.
Think way back to the 70s and 80s. Scientists were trying all sorts of things, like using electrical currents to get a reading. But it turns out our bodies are just too complex, too biologically noisy for that to work accurately. It was like trying to hear a pin drop in the middle of a rock concert. So in the 90s, there was this brilliant pivot. Researchers turned to light. The whole question changed to, what if we could see the glucose right through the skin? And that one shift in thinking opened the door to all the incredible tech we're seeing today. So how in the world can you use light to measure something inside your body without cutting it open? Well, the answer lies in this fascinating field of science called spectroscopy. It's really all about studying how light and matter interact with each other. Now, to make any of this work, scientists first had to find a kind of secret passage for light to get into the body. And they found it. It's called the optical window. Think of it like this. Most light that hits our skin just gets blocked or absorbed right away. But there's this very specific slice of near-infrared light that can actually pass through our skin and tissue, letting us peek deep enough to find those glucose molecules. This window is the key that unlocks this whole concept. So how does it actually work in practice? Well, it's a pretty elegant 4-step dance. First, a tiny, totally harmless laser shines this special near-infrared light onto your skin. Second, that light scatters around under the surface and interacts with all sorts of different molecules, including glucose. Third, a special sensor captures the tiny bit of light that bounces back out, and that light is now carrying a unique chemical signature. And finally, and this is the really clever part, a powerful algorithm deciphers that faint signal to find the specific fingerprint of glucose and calculate a reading. Okay, so armed with that basic science, a few key technologies have really risen to the top in this race. Let's meet the 3 main contenders trying to solve this puzzle. So there are 3 main approaches here, and each one is brilliant in its own way. And each one has its own frustrating Achilles heel. First up, you've got Raman spectroscopy. It's incredibly specific. It can pick out glucose's unique fingerprint like nobody's business. The problem? The signal it gets back is incredibly weak. It's like trying to hear a whisper in a hurricane. Then there's NIR spectroscopy. This one measures how much light glucose absorbs. It can get deeper into the skin, which is great, but its signal can easily get confused with water, which is everywhere in our bodies. And finally, there's photoacoustic tech, which turns light pulses into sound waves that are easier to detect. It's super sensitive, but the hardware is really, really hard to shrink down to fit into a smartwatch. All of this sounds so promising, right? It feels like we should be there already. So the big question is, why don't we have this on our wrists yet? Well, it turns out that getting from a cool concept in a lab to a real-world medical device means you have to clear some absolutely massive hurdles. Yeah, cracking this isn't just one problem. It's really 4 giant challenges all rolled into one.
First, you've got the accuracy problem. This thing has to be just as reliable as the medical devices we already have, no exceptions. Second, the biology problem. It has to work on everyone, no matter your skin tone, how hydrated you are, or your body temperature. That biological variability is a huge, huge hurdle. Third, there's the engineering problem. How do you shrink all this complicated tech into something tiny and power efficient that can run all day on a watch battery? And finally, even if you solve all that, there's the regulatory problem, passing years and years of rigorous clinical trials to get that official stamp of approval from groups like the FDA. It's a truly monumental task.
But, and this is the exciting part, despite all those challenges, the momentum right now is undeniable. It feels like we are right on the cusp of a brand new era of health monitoring. It really isn't a question of if anymore, it's a question of when.
And nothing signals that more than the constant rumors about Apple's secret, multi-billion-dollar project to crack this exact problem for the Apple Watch. Now, it's all unconfirmed, of course, but the fact that a tech giant of that size is reportedly all in on this just shows you how close we might be to a real breakthrough.
And when it happens, the impact is just going to be staggering. For individuals, it means a life with less pain, less stress, less fear. For our healthcare systems, it means better management, which leads to fewer long-term complications. And that ultimately means a massive reduction in costs from things like hospitalizations and emergency treatments.
So we're left with this one last tantalizing question. The journey to get here has been incredibly long and difficult. But for the very first time, the destination truly feels like it's within reach. The day is coming when managing this chronic disease might just become a seamless, invisible part of our everyday lives.